Have you ever found yourself wondering, do they miss me as much as I miss them? It's a question that can quietly echo in our minds, late at night, in quiet moments, or when we're scrolling through old memories. In an age where messages are instant and attention is currency, it's easy to fall into the trap of needing constant signs from others to feel validated, to feel wanted, to feel enough. But what if I told you that the most powerful way to make someone miss you isn't about texting less, playing hard to get, or following some dating guru's reverse psychology game plan? What if the answer lies in an ancient philosophy, one that champions inner power over outer approval, one that teaches you to stop chasing and start becoming? Let me introduce you to Stoicism. Now before you imagine monks in robes or emotionless people staring at walls. Let's clear something up. Stoicism isn't about suppressing feelings or pretending you don't care. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Stoicism is about reconnecting with your deepest strength. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to be missed to feel complete, but is missed anyway because of the quiet strength, clarity, and peace you radiate. This isn't a trick, it's a transformation. Here's the truth. When we depend on others to make us feel worthy, we give away our power. We hand over the keys to our happiness, letting it be driven by things we can't control, other people's moods, responses, or affections. And it never feels stable, does it? One day they respond quickly and your heart soars. The next, they're distant, and suddenly your world feels a little colder. That emotional roller coaster, that's the cost of attachment rooted in insecurity. But the Stoics, people like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, believed there was a better way. They taught that peace begins within. That true strength comes from mastering ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions, our focus. And once we stop clinging to what's out of our control, we gain something even more powerful. I'll be honest. When I first came across Stoicism, it felt hard. I didn't want to let go. I wanted to believe that if I just did one more thing, sent one more message, showed one more bit of love, maybe I'd get the response I was craving. But it never worked, because I was operating from need, not wholeness. And that's when the shift happened. I stopped asking, do they miss me? And I started asking, am I proud of who I'm becoming? So if you're stuck in that place, aching to be remembered, to be wanted, I want to invite you on a journey, not to manipulate anyone else's feelings, but to master your own. In this video, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to explore how becoming your best self, grounded, resilient, and aligned with purpose, naturally creates the space where love, connection, and yes, even longing can grow. Because when you stop chasing validation and start embodying value, you don't have to make people miss you. They just do. Let's begin. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt your entire mood shift because someone didn't reply to your message? Or caught yourself spiraling because someone you care about suddenly became distant? It happens to all of us. And when it does, it's easy to believe the answer is to try harder, reach out more, be better, be whatever it takes to win their attention again. But here's the hard truth. The moment your happiness depends on how someone else treats you, you've handed them power over your peace. And that's where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes life-changing. The Stoics, those ancient thinkers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, understood something we still struggle with today. That emotional attachment, when rooted in fear or insecurity, creates suffering. Now, to be clear, Stoicism doesn't say don't love or don't feel. What it does say is, don't tie your happiness to things or people you cannot control. Because when we cling to others, to outcomes, to how things should be, we set ourselves up for heartbreak the moment reality doesn't cooperate. And let's face it, reality often doesn't. Attachment in this sense makes us fragile, vulnerable not in a beautiful, open-hearted way, but in a desperate, dependent way. But imagine this instead. Imagine your peace came from within, not from texts received, compliments given, or relationships maintained. Imagine waking up every day knowing that no matter who comes or goes, you are grounded in your own values, your own actions, and your own thoughts. This is what the Stoics teach. Happiness comes from mastering yourself, not managing others. We can't control if someone loves us. We can control how much we love ourselves. We can't control if someone chooses us. We can choose to live with dignity and self-respect, no matter what. This shift, this radical redirection of power from the outside to the inside, isn't just liberating, it's magnetic. When you are calm in your own center, others feel it. That calm becomes attraction. That peace becomes presence. Now here's something fascinating. The Stoics actually practiced something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. That means they deliberately imagined things going wrong, loss, rejection, failure. Not to be pessimistic, but to prepare their hearts. By visualizing worst-case scenarios, they reduced the fear of those events ever happening. And when you're no longer afraid of losing someone, guess what? You stop clinging. You stop controlling. You start loving with freedom, not fear. There was a time when I based my entire self-worth on how one person treated me. When they were warm, I felt alive. When they pulled away, I felt like I was disappearing. It wasn't love, it was dependency. And the day I realized that, everything changed. I stopped asking, how do I get them back? And I started asking, how do I come back to myself? That's where peace lives. That's where power begins. So if you're holding on too tightly right now, if someone's silence is louder than your self-trust, take a breath. Remember, your joy is not up for negotiation. Your peace does not belong to someone else. Your worth is not something others give you. It's something you remember. Embrace the Stoic way. Let go of attachment that's born from fear. Anchor yourself in who you are, what you value, and how you choose to show up in the world. And you'll find in the most beautiful paradox, the less you try to make someone miss you, the more they will. Imagine an old oak tree. Its roots run deep, anchoring it firmly into the earth. Its branches stretch wide and open, swaying gently in the wind. Storms come, winds howl, seasons change, and yet it stands steady, silent, strong. Now let me ask you, what would it feel like to be that solid on the inside? To weather emotional storms, rejection, heartbreak, uncertainty, without losing your center. That's what emotional resilience is. And in the philosophy of Stoicism, it's not just a bonus skill, it's the foundation of freedom. We live in a world that celebrates sensitivity, but rarely teaches us strength. We're told to feel everything deeply, but not how to carry it with grace. So when life hits hard, when someone lets us down, when plans collapse, when we face the unknown, most of us crumble inside, not because we're weak, but because we were never taught how to stand tall. But here's the truth. Emotional resilience can be learned, and the Stoics laid out a timeless path for doing just that. The first principle is simple but revolutionary. Focus only on what you can control. It sounds obvious, but think about it. How much of your emotional energy is spent on things you can't control? What they think of you, how they respond to your message, whether someone chooses to stay or go. Stoics like Epictetus taught that peace begins the moment you draw the line. This belongs to me, that doesn't. You can't control someone's actions. You can control your response. You can't control the weather. You can choose whether or not to bring an umbrella. This simple shift puts your power back where it belongs, in your hands. The second practice is a beautiful one. Reframe every setback as a stepping stone. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. It means not just accepting what happens, but embracing it fully because it happened. When life throws you a curveball, when someone walks away, when the plan fails, what if instead of resisting it, you leaned into it? What if you said, "This too is part of my path"? Not despite the challenge, but because of it. That shift in perspective, that's where growth begins. But here's something Stoicism doesn't often get credit for. You don't have to do this alone. The Stoics valued community, not crowds, not noise, but deep, authentic connection with people who share your values. When you're surrounded by people who lift you up, who remind you of who you are when you forget, who hold you accountable to your higher self, you become stronger than you ever could be on your own. So ask yourself, who's in your corner? And who do you need to stop giving front row seats to your peace? When you cultivate emotional resilience, something powerful happens. Your self-worth becomes yours. Your peace no longer rises and falls with someone else's approval. Your relationships deepen, not because you need someone, but because you choose them. You become like that oak tree, rooted, calm, unshakable. Not immune to life's storms, but no longer defined by them. So if you've been feeling tossed around by life or love, come back to what's in your control. See every setback as your teacher, and choose people who make your soul stronger. That's the Stoic path, and that's how you rise again and again. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the person you admire most. It could be someone famous, or maybe it's someone closer to home, a mentor, a parent, a friend. Now ask yourself, what makes them so admirable? Is it their wealth, their looks, their resume? Probably not. Chances are what draws you to them is something deeper, their character, their values, the way they carry themselves when no one's watching, their kindness, their courage, their clarity. That is the essence of real attraction. And it's exactly what the Stoics believed. True power, true respect, true connection doesn't come from chasing external success. It comes from living a life anchored in virtue and purpose. In today's world, we're constantly told that to be admired, to be worthy, we have to achieve. We have to impress, post, prove, perform. But here's a question worth asking. What if you stopped performing and started becoming? Becoming someone so grounded in your values that your life speaks for itself. Because that's what Stoicism is all about. Not empty philosophy, but practical tools to shape who you are. And at the heart of it are four timeless virtues, guiding principles for a life of depth, meaning, and unshakable strength. Let's break them down. Wisdom. This is about making decisions from clarity, not chaos. It's the ability to pause before reacting, to reflect before choosing, and to align your actions with your deeper values. Wisdom doesn't mean having all the answers. It means asking better questions, especially when emotions run high. Balance justice. Justice is living with fairness, compassion, and integrity. It's how you treat others when there's nothing to gain. It's speaking up when it would be easier to stay silent. It's remembering that your values don't just shape your inner world, they impact everyone around you. Courage. Courage is showing up fully, even when the outcome is uncertain. It's being willing to take emotional risks to be seen, to love again after being hurt. It's choosing action over avoidance, doing the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. Balance. Temperance. Temperance is the art of balance. In a world of extremes, this virtue reminds us to stay centered. It's knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to push forward and when to rest. It's self-control, not restriction, and balance, not burnout. Now, these virtues aren't just ideas to admire, they're disciplines to practice. And no, it doesn't require perfection. The Stoics never asked us to be flawless. What they asked was commitment, to keep showing up even when we stumble, to keep choosing character over comfort, to keep asking, am I being the kind of person I'd be proud to follow? When you live like this, when your life is led by values, not validation, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you radiate something real. And people can feel that. So here's my invitation to you. Take a few minutes today to reflect. Not on your goals, not your to-do list, but your values. What do you stand for? What kind of impact do you want to leave behind? And are your daily choices aligning with the person you want to be? Because when you live a life of virtue and purpose, you don't need to chase admiration. You become someone worth admiring. So start small. Stay grounded. Keep growing. And remember, progress, not perfection. Live with wisdom. Lead with justice. Act with courage. Walk with balance. And watch as your life and your relationships transform from the inside out. Have you ever been in a conversation, but your mind was 1,000 miles away? Maybe you were physically there, nodding, smiling, but mentally, you were rehashing an argument from last week or stressing about tomorrow's to-do list. We've all been there. In today's world, buzzing with notifications, multitasking, and endless distractions, it's becoming harder and harder to just be here. But here's the paradox. We crave deep connection more than ever, yet we spend so much of our lives disconnected from the present moment. And that's where mindfulness and presence come in, not as trendy buzzwords, but as powerful, practical tools to help us reconnect with life, with others, and most importantly, with ourselves. Picture yourself on a raft floating down a river. The current is strong. The bends are sharp. There's no telling what's around the next corner. Now, you have a choice. You can exhaust yourself paddling upstream, fighting the flow, trying to control every twist and turn. Or you can let go, surrender to the river's current, and trust it to carry you exactly where you're meant to go. And that, my friend, is what letting go of control looks like. Most of us are taught from a young age that if we work hard enough, plan carefully enough, say the right things at the right time, we can shape the outcomes we want. And in some areas of life, that's true. But when it comes to people, to relationships, and to the emotional landscapes of others, control is an illusion. We can't control what someone feels. We can't control how someone responds. We can't force someone to love us, miss us, choose us. And the more we try to control what's beyond us, the more we suffer. We get anxious. We get resentful. We become masters of overthinking, micromanaging, second-guessing. And all the while, life is quietly asking, what if you simply allowed things to unfold? The Stoics had a radical solution. They taught, accept what you cannot control. Focus on what you can. You can't control someone's emotions, but you can control how you show up. You can choose your attitude, your responses, your values. And from that place of centeredness, of self-trust, you become free. You no longer cling to outcomes. You no longer seek approval to feel okay. You find peace not because everything goes your way, but because you stop needing it to. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means giving space for things to breathe, for people to be themselves, for connection to grow naturally. When you stop trying to manage how others perceive you, when you let go of manipulation, subtle or overt, something incredible happens. Sparkles, you invite authenticity. Sparkles, you foster trust. Sparkles, you create a dynamic built not on fear but on freedom. Because when two people come together not out of need but out of choice, that's where true intimacy begins. So how do we begin? Start by communicating openly without clinging to the outcome. Say what you feel, say what you need, but release the grip of expectation. Trust that if the connection is real, it will remain. And if it's not, it's making room for something more aligned. Let go of seeking constant validation. You don't need to prove your worth to be loved. You don't need to control the moment to be safe. Instead, trust in yourself. Trust that no matter how life unfolds, you'll handle it with grace, with courage, and with resilience. That is power. Here's the paradox. When you stop forcing love, it flows. When you stop chasing validation, you feel whole. When you stop grasping for control, you gain true influence over yourself, your peace, your joy. So the next time you feel that urge to cling, to control, pause, take a breath, and remember the river. You are not here to push against life. You are here to trust its current. Let go, and watch how everything begins to fall into place. The truth is, we live in a society that rewards busyness. That equates being productive with constantly doing. So we scroll while we eat. We half listen while we think of what to say next. We keep ourselves distracted just enough to avoid being here, right now. But what does that cost us? It costs us the magic of the moment. It costs us real conversations, real connection, real understanding. And in relationships, it often leaves the people we care about most feeling unseen and unheard. But what if you could change that? What if you could begin to train your mind the way you train a muscle, learning to bring your full attention to the here and now? That's what mindfulness is, the art of noticing your breath, your thoughts, your body, noticing the person sitting across from you and being with them, not just near them. When you practice presence, something remarkable happens. People feel it. They feel seen, heard, valued. And that kind of attention, it's rare, it's beautiful, it's unforgettable. Mindfulness isn't just about feeling peaceful on a yoga mat. It changes how you show up in life. White heavy check mark, you focus better. White heavy check mark, you react less and respond more. White heavy check mark, you regulate your emotions with greater ease. White heavy check mark, you listen more deeply, love more intentionally, and communicate more clearly. In a world of surface-level interactions, presence allows you to build something deeper, authentic connection. It's what makes you memorable, trustworthy, safe. Not because you say all the right things, but because people can feel you're really there. And here's the good news. You don't need hours of meditation to become more present. You just need a few mindful moments. Start with daily quiet reflection, even just 5 minutes. Close your eyes, feel your breath. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing them. Throughout the day, choose presence in the little things. When eating, savor each bite instead of rushing through the meal. When talking to someone, put your phone down and look them in the eye. When walking, notice the ground beneath your feet, the air on your skin. It's not about being perfect. Your mind will wander, that's okay. The practice is in coming back, again and again. Here's what I've learned. The greatest gift you can offer someone is your full presence. Not your opinions, not your advice. Just you fully there, fully listening. And the greatest gift you can offer yourself is the peace that comes from being fully alive in this moment. So if you're tired of rushing, of feeling scattered, distracted, disconnected, slow down, breathe, be here, because right here, right now, is the only place real life, real love, and real connection truly exist. And that's something worth showing up for. So here we are. You've taken the time to pause, to reflect, to dig a little deeper, not just into how to make someone miss you, but into who you are becoming in the process. And that changes everything. Because this wasn't just about relationships. It was about you, your peace, your power, your purpose. Along the way, we explored 5 Stoic tools that go far beyond strategy or surface-level advice. Let's revisit them for a moment. First, we learned to detach from unhealthy attachments, to stop tying our self-worth to someone else's attention or affection. We recognized that neediness doesn't lead to love, it leads to suffering. 2, then we built emotional resilience, like a strong oak tree rooted deep in the earth. Instead of being tossed around by emotions, we discovered how to stand firm in who we are. 3, we explored how to live by virtue and purpose, aligning our daily choices with our deepest values, becoming the kind of person who attracts others not through charm, but through character. 4, we embraced mindfulness and presence, realizing that true connection is born not from saying the right thing, but from truly being there, fully and authentically. 5, and finally, we learned to let go of control, trusting that we don't have to manipulate love or chase validation to be whole. Together, these principles form the foundation of something rare and powerful. A life and love that's rooted in inner strength, not outer approval. Now the question becomes, how do you carry this forward? Because wisdom isn't just what you know, it's what you live. So I invite you to reflect often. Take quiet moments each day to check in with yourself. What do you truly value? Are your actions reflecting that? Stay present, not just with others, but with yourself. Notice your thoughts, your breath, the small moments that usually pass unnoticed. They hold more meaning than we realize. And most of all, trust the flow of your life. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to rush the process. Growth isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's silent, gentle, steady, but it's there. When you begin to live like this, rooted in clarity, anchored in presence, guided by your values, everything begins to shift. Your relationships deepen, not because you're trying harder, but because you're showing up more honestly. You attract people who resonate with your peace, not your performance. And you create space for love that is mutual, respectful, and lasting. And beyond that, something even more beautiful unfolds. You begin to feel whole within yourself. You stop asking, "Do they miss me?" and start asking, "Am I living in a way that I can be proud of?" And from that place, connection flows naturally. So wherever you are on your journey, whether you're healing, growing, letting go, or just beginning again, remember this. You are not here to chase love. You are here to become love, to live it, to embody it. The Stoic path isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming so centered that your warmth comes from within. Thank you for walking this path with me. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep choosing presence over pressure. And trust, life will meet you right where you are. Until next time, stay steady, stay true, and stay deeply connected to who you really are.